Welcome to TiffDoesLoans podcast, and today I have Rebecca Jarquin.
Thank you. Hello.
And she is with One Vision Real Estate. So we met a while back and been just communicating more, going to start working together, and she is just incredible as a real estate agent. So I wanted to bring her on and get her journey out there. So why don't you just kind of start by telling us like how you got started and, you know, just how things have moved along for you.
Yes, absolutely. So I started in 2019. I started in the Bay Area, and it's been a great journey. I started in operations and then used those same operations skill sets in my transactions to move into real estate. So I've been able to use those skill sets to help my clients directly with their transaction, which is the hardest, the most expensive transaction. It's a big investment. So they want to feel comfortable and safe, right? So my journey started in the Bay Area, and then I came back down to Orange County where I grew up. So that's been so good to be in my backyard. And so started hitting the ground with my team, One Vision. And with that being said, you know, being able to connect with clients, get into the community, and really dive deep into the preparation, right? So for me was getting my client prepared. Also from then on, leveraging, using their leverage and protecting that and advocating for them in that way. So that's been my really big, my secret sauce to say.
I love that. And to help them just get started wherever they are. You will meet them. And I love that. And that is so crucial in this business, especially right now, because I feel like a lot of people might hold back or they just don't know. And sometimes it's like they feel like they're not ready. So it's almost like they don't want to burden somebody else, but it's like, no, like,
we got
give
you.
It to, like we have the tools and resources to, I know it looks like a big pile of mess, but we can sift through it. So I love that. And so going from the Bay Area to here, so which is nice because you already grew up here. So you probably already, now you just flow
Plug and play. Yeah.
Now you just flow in. Now you get to go to everybody that you already knew. Was there any kind of struggle going from like that market to this market? Like what year did you come back?
So I came back in 2022.
Okay.
So
right when it slowed down.
Right when it slowed down.
That was when 22 is when the rates doubled
by
the end of the year.
Exactly.
So we were at 3% in early like January, February. By September and October, we were at 7.5%.
Exactly.
So it literally doubled. So that had to be rough.
Yeah, I played a factor in everybody taking a step back, right? But that gave me the leverage to reconnect with my clients and prepare them during that downtime, right?
That's good.
So when the markets are shot, everybody's preparing, they're taking advantage because everybody's too scared to jump into the pool.
Exactly.
So, that's leverage for the clients that are ready and willing to pursue their dream, right? So the others that are needing some credit repair or such, we take a step back and I guide them through those steps for when their time comes, they are ready.
That's amazing.
So definitely meeting them where they're at.
And walk them through it. Okay, so any credit repair, and I love that just to get them. So then they have like a partner for when they were ready. And I feel like these past 2 years have been just that, more like a preparation and getting that mindset. And then as you kind of walk them through, like what are those steps that you have them do first?
Yeah, so I definitely have them connect with a lender, just like yourself, right? I connect them, yes, definitely. So TiffDoesLoans is definitely, so we'll be connecting them with you. We'll walk them through the process. I'll have the consultation with them talking about at A to Z what happens into the transaction, so there's no surprises, right? We're talking about the loan, we're talking about their criteria, their deal breakers, their non-negotiables. So that way up front, we know all of that. Before we're shopping, before we start submitting offers, we're already aware and their goals are set. So from then on, we already know what we're shooting for. No blind offers, no shooting in the dark is what we're doing. So we'll go through those contingencies, through those timelines. I'll let them know, we're going to work towards credits. I'm always going to try to save my clients money out of pocket as much as possible. So that's been a really good transition for them to then shop confidently.
Love that. And so you are in like LA, Orange County, and the IE. So all of these markets, I mean, are very good, all kind of different in themselves. So what have you kind of seen helping in each one, or is there any main differences or maybe a benefit for one of them, or that you kind of have been leading more clients to get into?
Yes, so definitely I service all three of those markets. So with Riverside and IE and those areas, what I'm finding is families that are first-time buyers or expanding want more money for what they're looking for, right? So the square footage is important to them. So if it's lifestyle, if it's budgets, I want that to all align with that market. So it needs to make sense for them. So if they want to expand starting in Riverside, and whether that's later down the line using that equity to purchase in Orange County where they want to move and uproot their family later down the line, that's always an opportunity within the purchase to the next transaction.
And I feel like that's a big one right now.
Absolutely.
It's like, that's always kind of been a realtor's pitch, though, is that, don't worry about your first one being your dream home. Get in, start building equity, and then, in 2 years, then we'll get you your dream home. So
absolutely.
Kind of the same thing. And like in the Riverside area, we have more, they have more acres, they have more room to add ADUs, to add extra income. Out here, they definitely are going to be not as much like front yards, backyards. Well, I'm by the beach, so to me everything's very small. Like you
have more new builds.
Backyard.
Totally, you have more new builds and more opportunity in that way. In Riverside, like you said, couple years, that equity builds, then you can purchase a home or you can start in Orange County, right, and then use that equity to buy a single family down the line. So it's all about leveraging your investment.
100%.
So I think, once all my clients are aware of, wow, my equity can do that, and I can start here, and I thought I didn't know my options. It's all about providing those options, and who doesn't want options, right? Everybody loves options. So as long as all of those are presented and they get to pick and choose, I get to tailor and customize their approach. And so then, and help them out to set them up for success at the end.
And in this market, too, I've had to take a new strategy, kind of, especially a client that he's wanted to purchase, for the past couple of years, but then we did get into contract, and then he's like, wait, and because the prices are very high, and it is a big step. So I did work with him. He's more of a numbers man, so I'm like, look, we need to, I know you have a list of reasons why not to, but he's like, yeah, what if I would have purchased 3 years ago? So I was like, right there, I need you to do the math backwards from how much equity would you have had? And now add that. So I've had to kind of pivot and do more, keep their eyes more on the equity building than the state, as long as we still go over budget to make sure that they could afford what they're getting. But I feel like that's another big one right there, where you have to focus them on the appreciation, especially in California.
Absolutely.
And they are going up. So, we've definitely had to get some new strategies to try to keep the eyes like, let's look here. Something huge that I want to go over is just where the current markets are. So do you see in these markets, and I know we've discussed it with seller credits. We're both really big on that lately. Yes. I mean, every loan that I've done so far, we have gotten seller credits before and during. And I've used them as strategies even to make the loan make sense, like for the borrower, that, we can use those and buy down. So what are you kind of seeing now for, those credits?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So what I'm seeing is a lot less out of pocket for my clients, which is phenomenal for their head start into buying a property, right? They're not going in broke. They're going in with sometimes even some equity. Yeah. So that's phenomenal. And they're off to the green start, which is exactly what we're trying to set them up for. And with the equity, so in terms of the equity, the seller credits. What I use, it's not a loss to the seller. It's what helps them and is a tool for us to be able to complete the transaction efficiently and smoothly. Yep. Right. So it's able to bridge that gap, and along with down payment assistance programs to be able to stack those to benefit both sides of the transaction. Yep. Right. So it's been phenomenal to be able to use that as a tool. So it's been really good.
That's why, because some people, they're like, they don't want to buy right now because it's harder, obviously, not as much inventory. But I tell all my clients, like, you should be on Zillow every day just scrolling for a good deal. Just act like you're on one of those apps. Like, just keep going. Because if there is a good deal or you find one, somewhere in there, if it's been sitting.
Absolutely.
So I tell them, like, if it's been sitting 30, 45 days, it was like, if it's over that, we might be able to get, or if they do what I've been using lately is looking for the price cuts, and then depending on some of these barely, just drop the price cut. So I'm like, look, you can even give them still what they wanted at the regular and then get the rest of that. So now you're coming in, you're still buying it at the price that they wanted, but now you're taking like 15,000 seller credits.
Absolutely.
So that's been either to buy their rate down or for the closing cost. So I feel like, people are scared, but this is the time when you're getting those deals, because once they do start to go down, which it looks like we're on more of a downturn.
And also have, I actually have somebody in contract right now or in escrow. They're coming out $5,000 out of pocket. So they got 20% down with down payment assistance program through Dream for All. Hey, so
we're so good.
Absolutely. So they just got notice. So 2 weeks after our buyer's consultation, they're in escrow and they're only coming out of pocket $5,000.
And that is affordable. That's what people don't understand. Is there are so many different programs out there, and when you have somebody like Rebecca, it's like they will walk through your whole situation, as myself does also, but to walk through we're going to craft something around you. You don't need to fit in the box.
Yes.
Like, we're going to draw the box around you. That's how I think of it. Like, just tell me where you're at.
Just sit still and we will service the whole box.
Like, we're going to get everything in here. Like, just give me all the details. And then I'm going to be like, okay, where can we go? What can we do to, make this possible for you?
Absolutely.
So that has been, that's really the way to go.
Absolutely. So, I've seen so much leverage in asking for credits, and, we locked in a great rate. So everything was really good. Yeah. I'm really thankful for the opportunity in the market that's providing that to the clients, right? So right now I think for buyers in terms of purchasing, I think it's a time for when they are ready and for when the payment makes sense, right? And obviously using a lender that has all the experience and all the knowledge is able to help bring that transaction, build the loan so that way it benefits the buyer at the most at the end of the transaction, right? That payment is going to be vetted all through you, and then we're going to go out and find that property, whether it's me having to go build flyers and find a home off market for them, but it's all of us collectively thinking outside of the box to bring this clients to the finish line.
And working as a team.
And working as a team.
Tell them,
collaboration.
This is the biggest, don't be, and my smoothest transactions are with the clients that it's like, we have that relationship, that bond, that realtor, we're all together. And, no one's trying to jump ship.
Yeah.
It's like, look.
Stay on the ship.
Shopping is a different level these days. You try to shop, you got to pick your team. It is going to be best. I know, shopping the rate. Look, when it was at 2%, that was a different strategy, shopping to get the lowest. But the market that we're in now, there are a lot more obstacles. And you want to be with somebody that can negotiate, because all these seller credits and this down payment assistance and everything that she's talking about, it didn't just make itself. Like she has strategy, and she knows how to write that offer and to get you those seller credits, and not everybody out there can do that. So there's some maybe that they're too afraid to
push for the credits, or to ask this for repairs,
or to ask for repairs.
Absolutely. They'll say as is, for example, I had this client that I have in escrow. They said as is, no more. So we did the inspections, we came in, and just because they said as is doesn't mean I'm going to take a step back.
Wait a minute,
new material facts, so we have to come in there and ask for it to be repaired, right? So my client's going to get $20,000 in credits. They're going to get their concerns addressed and repaired, and they're going to come $5,000 out of pocket. So
that's so good.
There's so many wins there that, like you mentioned, to double down on that strategy and negotiations, and lining up with your clients and your lender, and making sure that we're all working as a team collectively and bringing this to the finish line. It's all about 100%. Who you work with.
Yeah, because it's not just because somebody is a loan officer or a realtor, or it doesn't mean that they have that strategy.
Absolutely.
Or they're unfortunately there were I started going to the open houses again more in Riverside, so in the beginning of the year, but there were so many people out there coming in. I was so excited. I got all these documents. I get at this place, and they're going to put an offer in, and they said that they were pre-approved, and I get all their stuff in, and I'm like, none of this income is actually income.
Oh,
so
okay.
Who gave, it's like somebody out there is giving them pre-approvals, and not, they're actually shopping, when in reality, once you if you actually did all the documents and go through everything, unfortunately, it was like one or two of the incomes listed, due to guidelines, they're not usable, or a qualifying income is what we call it. So it's definitely next level. Not everybody is the same. You want to make sure that you are sending those documents and working closely. Make sure that your realtor and your loan officer are also working together, because if you introduce them and put them together, magic just happens when you don't even see it.
Synchronicity.
Because then you're like, wow, that was a great process. Bro, we put out 6 fires.
Totally.
As long as we just try our best to not let it get to you.
Let us stress for you.
Yes.
Let us go to
you're
battle for you. You're only going to
get the message if it's we've already exhausted. I try to even not go to the realtor unless I've already exhausted every angle. So then at least when I'm calling you, I'm like, this is what's happening. A, B, C, I've already tried. We're waiting on D. I think it's so good.
Exhausting all efforts. Absolutely. All the resources.
This is where we're at.
Totally.
And then also, so for you, so all the seller credits, that is great. You've just been phenomenal. Just every time I look at this girl's post, it's like somebody with a big key, getting into their home. I'm like, this girl's crushing it, just constantly is keeping consistent in a market like this. That's, should be really looked at right now and honored in a sense of, it is not easy right now. And every time, I've been following you and, all these people getting into their homes, there's definitely a level of consistency there. Is there something that what's your secret sauce? You kind of mentioned before with the helping them kind of prep.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else that you kind of focus on to, get them to the finish line?
Yes, absolutely. So, I tend to, just because I don't qualify the first time around, you know, I'll still hold their hand. I'll take them to the credit repair specialist. I'll give them a few options for them to go through, right? And let them know whether you need a cosigner, or I'll work with you to see what is lacking, right? So thereafter, preparing them, even after I give them the keys, I have a home warranty, how to set that up, how to use it, their utilities, how to transfer a week early, right? Setting them up even after the transactions with list of contractors, right? Plumbing, anything that they need. Love that. So that way they understand, hey, even at the end, I still have you afterwards, because at the end of the day, I want to be their advisor forever, right? That's a relationship that I want to maintain, and I want them to think of me as a resource, you know, and as you as well, you know, so I want that to always be a lasting impression from when they leave the transaction. We're still family, we're still friends, and we're still going to be in touch, and I'm always going to be checking in, right, in case. Love to see the upgrades that they do at the homes, and the pride and ownership that comes with that. It's just beautiful to see that they turned a house into a home. You know, so I definitely guide them throughout the entire process. Like I said, I'll take them up. I'll print out the presentation. They take it home. They get to review it, and I'll tell them through the transaction, hey, we're at step appraisal. We're here now. Next is going to be the loan docs. You know, so just giving them managing their expectations throughout the transaction. Like, hey, I actually just went through disclosures with you, so expect an email shortly. So that way, they understand, like, the whole team is aligned here. You know, one piece doesn't move unless the other piece communicates. So there's just a really big overlap on the communication. We're just constantly in communication. So they always feel at ease, because they understand that they have basically guards around them.
I love
and
that.
around their assets.
And the expectation, I feel, you know, I've been in the business now 5 years, but it did take me, you know, also a strategy to that. But now it's like, that is my biggest, communication and expectations. Like, just letting them know in the beginning, like, hey, you have this might come up later. It could open up this, but let's just wait. Let's get through underwriting.
Cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, like just, you may have to show further information. I think it might be this. We might not. Let's just see. And so at least you're letting them know, like, then it's not you're in there. And I've learned, you know, just that communication. Even if I don't have a full update, just give a little text.
Absolutely.
Hey, I don't have an update. And they're like, okay, thanks.
Thank you.
And, you know, and just, I always let them, I'm available. Like, if they're stressing about anything, and I make sure I walk them through, you know, all the docs. So I think that's huge. And I love to hear when a realtor is doing it, and also doing it after they get into the home, which is huge, because it is, when you are a first-time home buyer, you know, now you're a homeowner. So it's not just buying a house. Now you have to get all that set up, and that's great that you give them, like, all the lists and contractors, all that good stuff.
Totally. Amazing. I went over disclosures with my client, and she said, Rebecca, do you do this with all of your clients? And I was like, absolutely. Oh my goodness. She was like, oh my goodness, you know, and she had such a sense of relief about, she was like, I opened all the emails, and I was like, how am I going to go over these documents? And it's like, I do them. I got that for you. Don't you worry. I'm going to give you the bottom line about this. And I want you to leave this phone call and sign those documents confidently, knowing that you know exactly what's happening with the property that you're going to purchase. There's no surprises, right? We discovered everything during the inspections. These are just disclosures. We're going to go through HOA soon. And, you know, they just feel so reassured. And every time I ask their questions, they're like, you've been answering as you go. Going. So, you know,
that is huge.
Making sure they feel at ease.
Yes. And I feel like mine have gotten smoother because I do that. Like, I text them, hey, once my processor always lets me know, like, I know when they're going out, I'm like, hey, you're going to get the message, or you're going to get the documents. As soon, I was like, let me know when you both, or if they're mostly there too, are available. We're going to walk through. So already they're like, okay, when I open these, we are going to walk through everything, jump on a call, see what questions you have, and even line by line. And I think that is one of the biggest, you know,
sets you apart.
Yeah, like getting them to is why, when you have return clients and stuff, because that is the most, especially in a world nowadays, it's like everybody is just so quick to like make money and like here. Yes. And it's like, no. Like, I want to be your source forever. And I want to make sure that you know what's in here. So I think that's really important.
Absolutely.
I love all of this.
Yes, me too. TiffDoesLoans is in the building.
You're going to be seeing a lot of us.
Yes. So I'm really excited. Right, this is really good energy.
And then, okay, so we've kind of gone over your prep, just like working with all of your clients. And how about some advice? So we thought coming into this year, thought that we would have a little more of a rate drop. We did just get cut a little bit, but what is your advice to your first-time home buyers that might still be on the sidelines right now? We are also heading into winter. So what is your advice to them?
Okay, so first things first is talking to a lender, right? Yeah. My advice is always going to say, let's talk to the lender, let's get those numbers, let's see what those different scenarios can look like. Can we use a 2-1 buy down? Does it benefit most for down payment assistance? Depending off of what the recommendations are and whether you're prepared for that or not is the route that we choose, right? So if you're not ready for that payment at this point, well, then that's fine. But we'll keep you in the know about the market. We'll keep you updated no matter what. And then when you are ready and you have a question about the market, we could rerun those scenarios, right? And then we can see where you're at then. It's all about the payment and you feeling comfortable taking it on. So that's what my advice is to buyers is it's not about the market. It's about your comfortability and your budget and if that payment works for you at the time of purchase. In terms of the interest rate, that would definitely be my approach.
Yeah. And and another thing too is where if they focus on the interest rate, I always pivot them to focus on the payment.
Absolutely.
So that will also help them, kind of get to that realtor too, where I'm like, okay, let's not just, because rates are rates, but really, where is your budget? So,
absolutely.
That is great advice, just especially in this market, to be prepared. And what about some advice for your sellers? Maybe because we have been getting so many seller credits and it's been great for our buyers.
Right.
But then we also have our sellers to where they're like, well, I want to wait because we have been anticipating like, hey, when the rates go down, the values will go up. So then you have sellers holding on to their houses. So what is your strategy or your advice to the sellers at this time, especially before winter?
Absolutely. So my number one is going to be pricing, right? Pricing, not overpricing, pricing just right, is going to bring you that traction, right? So whether the goal ultimately is to get list price or above list price, right? It's always going to be that deciding factor for the seller to be able to proceed, right? What are my numbers? But at the end of the day, what they're going to net, depending on these seller credits, they're not at a loss to them. Like I mentioned earlier, this is always a tool to be able to complete the transaction and get both sides of the transaction what they need and want to complete it. So mine would be making sure that their house is that curb appeal, making sure that you get that home set up, and marketing is going to help only when it's priced correctly. So that's going to be the key deciding factor in putting the home on the sale. Definitely not a loss when it comes to seller credits. So I really love seller credits. It's been such a great tool.
I love that. Great advice. And then so just kind of final question here. What should we expect from Rebecca coming up? Just kind of some goals to wrap in this year, 2025. just some aspirations that you have with the market, or maybe a prediction, whatever you'd like.
Yeah, totally. So for me, I want to stay community forward, always, want to be tied in to give my clients that one-on-one feel. I always want them to feel very personalized to them, and that they're the first priority.
Love that.
Right. So for me, it's going to be prioritizing families into getting into the homes, and community is always at the bottom of my heart. I love being a part of the community and giving back. I'm actually sponsoring Villa Middle School basketball girls over there. So, giving back is just such a part of who I am. And it goes hand in hand with real estate. Yeah. I just love being a part of that journey and giving back in that way to them, and holding their hand through and advocating for them. And it just brings me so much joy.
I love your passion. Yeah, I love that.
Thank you. So I negotiations is something that I'm constantly sharpening, so that way I can go to bat for my clients. But for me, it's always giving that boutique feel. I really want to, it's all about the client for me.
Yeah.
So as I think that's my main focus, is just gearing towards this next season, into pouring more into guiding them. I have a few clients that are ready, but I do have a set of clients that I work with, so that way it's still one-on-one, and it's tailored. So I'm onboarding them, and they're just so excited to be homeowners by the end of, so we'll be connecting together, and we'll be getting them to the finish line. So pretty excited.
That's so amazing. And you could tell just, your passion and your love for the community and the clients that you work with. So that's me especially, and looking forward to just, helping these clients together and really getting them in that home. So thank you so much for coming, and I can't wait to see what we build together.
Yes.
And feel free to, I will have all of her information below. Feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe.
Thank you. Bye.